Alrighty, I'm very excited for this guide on how to make a successful bakery in The Sims 4. I am going to forewarn you that when I was making my own bakery, I got way too into it. So look, I'm taking this guide to the extreme, but by the end, you're going to know how to make a successful bakery, I can promise you that much. I'm going to start with the setup and some general basics before talking about baked goods and potential groupings for certain stands. Then I'll talk about helpful store perks and game-changing sim traits, a few quick random tips and tricks, and then finally Ambrosia. Note that this is very bakery focused, but I have some guides on retail business basics in the description. Now, creating a bakery requires the Get to Work expansion pack as it unlocks both retail stores and the baking skill, but it isn't just the baking skill that makes baked goods. Yes, I'm curiously squinting too, I promise. Some baked goods, like cupcakes and mini cakes, require your regular cooking skill. In addition, some dishes require the gourmet cooking skill, which is unlocked at level 5 of the regular cooking skill. I know, a lot of cooking. And before you get started, I do suggest spending some time to get at least level 5 of either the cooking or baking skill, and this is because the higher the skill required to make a dish, the more the baked goods will be worth, and thus the more markup and money you can make. With baking, goods are worth very little until higher levels, so you simply won't be making any money at the low levels. You can start early, however, if you want to work towards business perks, you'll ideally want that bit of money stashed up as well because you'll need to purchase a retail lot. You can get the basic startup going with about 10,000 simoleons if you're willing to be cheap. The basics in my mind are a register, 1 or 2 baking displays, and a cupcake factory, plus, walls, flooring, a window, lights. A bathroom is great too, love a toilet. The baking displays are really important as placing food in them will extend the time it takes them to go off up to about 20 game days. For some dishes, this is a bit less. Note that the timer for these doesn't go down unless you're on the retail lot, so you can spend a few days at home if you need without worrying about the food in your bakery expiring. Now, when it comes to stocking your store with baked goods, there is no wrong or right way to go about it, but for me personally, I like to ensure a variety of goods for sale while skewing towards the baked items from the higher baking, cooking, and gourmet cooking levels. The reason for this is that dishes which require higher levels have a higher base price. As markup is based on percentages, this essentially increases your profit margins and thus overall profit. Just for some perspective, baked goods that require level 5 of the skill generally have a base price of around 50 to 100 simoleons, while goods which require level 10 are usually around the 500 mark. Note there are ways to increase this further, which I will talk about a bit later. This price can also fluctuate a bit between every dish you make, even when making the exact same dishes, so it can be worth remaking your dish a few times to get a higher base price for your store. Now, for baked goods made using your usual kitchen appliances, you won't know the base price until you sell an item and see the restocking price. However, if you make excellent quality dishes on the Cupcake Factory, you have the option to sell them to the local bakery for simoleons. The amount they sell for is also the base price when it comes to selling the good in your store. This means it's the base restocking cost and also the cost before the markup is added to the sale price. If you have extra time in your day while customers are around but are yet to purchase goods, then you can always make items at the Cupcake Factory and sell them to the local bakery should they be excellent quality for extra simoleons. Note that this money will go into your everyday household funds rather than your business funds, but it's still profit, and I like to think of it as your bakery being a bit of a wholesaler on the side. Now again, you can sell whatever you like, but here are some of the displays I came up with. The first is the cupcake display, which uses the cooking skill on the Cupcake Factory. I skewed this towards high-level cupcakes, but also added the minty mocha, red velvet, and strawberry pink cupcakes for added variety. The next was donuts, which were all from the Cupcake Factory as well. However, using the baking side, I skewed this towards cereal topped and bacon wrapped donuts because they're level 9 baked goods with good base prices, but I also added in jelly filled donuts and a few others for variety. Then there was what I named my quality miscellaneous baked goods. This skewed towards eclairs at level 10 baking and berry macaroons and creme brulee at level 9 baking. I also added in profiteroles and chocolate biscotti for variety. These all use the Cupcake Factory, but then I also added the chocolate souffle at level 2009 baking, however this is made using the regular kitchen. Next was cakes, and I feel like you can't have a bakery without cakes, but the Sims team need to make some more cakes and better cakes. Most of these are made using the kitchen, so I had a lava bundt cake at level 10, fruit cake and rainbow gelatin cake. I added in a range of other lower level cakes too for variety. Note that the tired cake and white and black cake are from the gourmet cooking skill. Then there was bread. Now this can be split into bread and pie separately, but I had them together. I just felt I needed bread in a bakery. Most of these are made in a regular kitchen with the exception of the croissants, which are from the cupcake factory. Also note there are different pies in both the baking section and the cooking section. Things are everywhere. Finally, I had my miscellaneous rare goods stand, which admittedly was a pain to fill, so I don't really recommend it. This had the voodoo doll cookies as well as the alien fruit tarts and ambrosia, which is the most expensive dish by far you can stock. A quick note is that once you make a dish and sell it, you can simply restock it like you would a buy mode product. You don't need to remake the dish, and the countdown to when the dish expires will be refreshed. This is why taking the time to craft dishes with a higher than average base price is worth it. Again, there's no right or wrong way to run your store, but for a bakery, some great perks are faster checkouts, large and instant restocking, both of which help you run the store more efficiently, and as it speeds up these interactions which provide perk points will help you gain more perk points faster, meaning you can buy more perks. Cheaper restocking is also huge as it lowers the restocking cost by 25%, which will directly translate the restocking savings into profits when selling an item. Serious shoppers and curious shoppers are also good perks to passively help increase sales. In terms of staff, they are generally quite useless when it comes to a retail business, but if you hire one, focus on getting on with a high work ethic above everything else, as otherwise they will do nothing all day. Assign them to clean the store at the start of the shift, as baking displays get dirty quickly and cleaning them will not net you any perk points, so it's great to outsource this. You also need to choose your markup. Generally, tailor this to what you're hoping to achieve. If you want to focus on cooking and training skills, I would make the markup higher, as you can spend more time while the store is open making food for your store, as sales will be slower. If you want perk points, then make the markup lower, as this will help drive fast sales. Personally, I like between 25 and 50% markup, which I found was a good balance and made decent profits. Okay, on to traits, and this is so important. Now, if you can save for 1,500 satisfaction points, you can buy the marketable trait, which increases the price of goods you make. This includes the food you bake for your shop. The base price can be up to 3 times higher, and I believe it's quite random where it falls in the spectrum. For example, making a dish that consistently fell around the 500 simoleon mark would then be produced with a base cost somewhere between 500 and 1,500 at random. This is huge. By making dishes a few times, you can easily increase the base price of everything you sell in your store by about 2.5 times easily. As sale profits are driven by percentages, this can then make your store easily 2.5 times more profitable. It's an absolute must-have in my opinion. The other trait that's a game changer is Fresh Chef, and this is the reward for completing the Master Chef aspiration, meaning it's not easy to get. The main task in completing the Master Chef aspiration is getting to level 8 of the culinary career, which does take some time. The flip side is that if you need a bit of money to kickstart your business, then pick up this aspiration and go into this field so you can eventually grab this trait. This trait means all food you create will be excellent quality and also means it will never go off. This is huge as it completely eliminates the stress of food ever expiring. You also don't even need to sell the food in baking displays anymore, though I still do because I like them. Also, hygiene. Also note that once you complete the aspiration and grab the trait, you can quit the job and focus solely on the business too. Okay, now for some fast tips. It's generally a good idea to have all the items for sale in your bakery on one floor. I wanted mine split over 2 with a ladder. Worst idea I've ever had. Don't do it. You need to be able to get to Sims fast to lock in sales, so ideally all the sellable goods on one floor. Next is aim for high quality appliances and upgrades in your kitchen where possible, as this will help increase the quality of the food you create. Speaking of creating foods, some require specific ingredients. While this won't cover everything, buying a bunch of starter seed packets from fruits to herbs to vegetables and opening them will cover a wide range of the additional ingredients you may need. If you have the Tiny Living Stuff Pack, the artwork that comes with the pack has 3 of the hidden swatches being colourful cupcakes, which dare I say is the perfect art for a bakery. I told you I got way too into this, and I really did. Next is to add a sign to your store and ideally upgrade it, as this is an easy way to attract more customers. If you have the City Living expansion pack, then give your bakery retail lot the Chef's Kitchen trait, which will give a small boost to cooking and gourmet cooking skill gains. On a general opening day, once I had high level and quality goods, I like to use the Cupcake Factory to make a few dishes and sell them to the local bakery in the opening hours before customers start purchasing goods. This, combined with sales in the day and having the marketable trait and cheaper restocking perk, meant I was very comfortably making over 5,000 simoleons a day. I also like to bake some goods and leave them out not for sale, but rather as taste testers for customers. This also makes it a great place for other Sims in your neighborhood to visit, as they can try some high quality foods. This tip is just for fun gameplay, but it's definitely easy to do if you have the Fresh Chef trait, as the taste testers will never go off. On that note, remember, a business is still a community lot, and think about how it can add value to your overall game. In addition to taste testers, I added seating and a Don't Wake the Llama game upstairs where Sims can hang out. Also, by selling Ambrosia, it means Sims now have a place to purchase the very hard to come by item should they need it. Speaking of Ambrosia, it's finally time to talk about it. This is very difficult to make as it requires level 10 cooking and gourmet cooking. Note, gourmet cooking is a fast skill to train, so don't let this scare you too much. It also requires an angelfish, death flower, and a potion of youth, which costs 1,500 satisfaction points. I know I have 3 Ambrosia, so I spent 4,500 satisfaction points on this. Yes, very into my bakery. But these retail for huge prices. With the marketable trait, one of mine is 12,000 simoleons base price, meaning the normal base price for the good is at least 4,000. I'll have a link to getting this item in the description, but note that I played with these for sale for a while to see if the Sims would actually buy it, and while they do, they won't buy them often. It's also not a dish you want to risk going off, so my advice here is to only add this to your store if you have the Fresh Maker trait, and it will never go off. Alternatively, you could sell less goods so Sims are more likely to buy it through limited options, but again, while it can drive huge returns when it sells, it's not a dish you want to risk going off. And that's it. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed or found that helpful, then please subscribe and leave a like. I would really appreciate it. I got so into that, and I loved making my bakery. If you have any tips of your own, please feel free to share. It would be so cool to see any additional ideas you have, and have an amazing day. See you later.